Hey, yo, what's up? It's the Lobby Boy Maino, and this is my episode of Giving Them the Business with my man Chris Gotti and DInero.
Yeah. We're back once again. This is Chris Gotti, Lorenzo, my partner DInero.
You already know.
You know what I'm saying? We're here to give you the business. Yes. K-Bola, we're here to give you the business with a special guest today. We want to get right to it. It's my man for years right here.
Yes.
My man, Maino.
What's happening, baby?
Man, thank you for coming, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
This is a pleasure. I've been traveling so much, and we always cross paths.
Right.
And the beauty of it, I was just telling them off air, like I have no problem appreciating people
No
for
question.
the things they do.
No
but
question.
you've been 100 since the door. You know what I'm saying? And that's very important.
And you understand why though, because you've been 100.
Of course, I only know one way, but
Right.
I don't always get it reciprocated, if you hear me.
But that ain't gonna change us though.
Yeah, that's not gonna change. So I want to give a big shout out to your brother. Just came home.
Definitely. Mouse. Shout out to Mouse.
Shout out Mouse. You know what I'm saying? Mouse, what up, boy?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a big deal too.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
stay home.
Stay home.
That's it. We here.
Humongous still.
Yeah, that's a big
you know
deal,
how it
man.
is.
Stay home. All that inside shit, we got to get them
Easy to
on.
get in there and hard to get out, right?
Yeah, easy to get in, hard to get out.
Right.
But I want to get right to it. We got adventure music. We talk about independent artists and everything, and I want to kind of touch on your grind because your grind, in my opinion, from what I understand and seen, is very inspirational for these younger artists trying to make it.
Right.
Cause you came right out of jail for
Right
this
out of
shit.
jail. Right out of jail. And I ain't have no example.
Yeah.
I didn't have no example of a dude that just did a gang of time and just came home and just
How did you? What made you start rapping?
This was crazy though. I tell this story all the time, man. I never was a rapper, bro. I never was a rapper.
You're a rapper now.
Of course.
Yeah.
I never was a rapper.
I only
man.
say that because everyone says they hustle in the game.
Yeah,
definitely. You can't
Nah.
hustle the game.
Nah.
You have to either be an artist or not be an artist.
Yeah, you gotta actually commit to it. So I used to say that, right?
Yeah.
That was my first kind of introduction. I used to go at it like this. I'm a hustler. I'm hustling the game.
Yeah.
That was my excuse. But it kind of worked for me in a way because that gave me something to push towards. But what happened was, I was in prison. I was getting in a lot of trouble in prison. I was in a knucklehead group, right? In and out of the box all of the time. The first time I came into contact with rap was by way of a OG, Terror, right? He goes by the name of Terror, but a lot of people know him as J-Rock.
Gotcha.
From Fort Greene, legendary dude.
Shout out Terror, yo.
Right, J-Rock. He was rapping, his crime was Killer Ben and other notable dudes like that. And I was in the box, because I was always in the box.
Yeah.
Right? The cutting shit and all that, right? And I was in the box, and he was always in the box, and he was rapping. And then one day, so anybody ever been to Southport, they know that when they bring you to the yard, you go from your cage, you go from your cell to a cage.
Yeah.
It's a one-man cage. Everybody got a cage, right? And I was in my cage, he was in his cage. And he said something to me that to this day give me chills. He said he was crossing his, like we screaming.
You're talking from
a
distance.
Cage, right? I got dudes on this side, dudes on that side, and a cross, right? And so he like, yo, you should start rapping.
You took that offensive, I'm sure.
I did. Yo, you know what?
What'd you say?
Not because it was him, and I had a lot of respect for him.
There you go.
Right?
Okay.
I was a young nigga to him.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? I came up more with his little brothers. So I was like, I ain't no rapper.
Yeah.
And what he said to me to this day give me chills. He said you should, man, because it's gonna be. He said it's gonna be the new hustle. Watch. He said, you look like a rapper.
And what that do to you?
He said, you look like a rapper. It didn't do shit to me yet. He told me that it didn't dawn on me to years later that he told me that. And I remembered him telling me, he said, yo, you look like a rapper.
Yeah.
And I said, I just brushed it off. This is what a rapper look like.
If it wasn't your man, that's violence.
Yeah. Right. we didn't bow wow. What you talking about? We didn't come up in a time where it was fashionable to be that. Like ain't no rapper, nigga. I ain't with all that rapping shit. I ain't nobody. Like we ain't look at rappers. So
let me ask you that. What year are we talking? So we put it in
talking
perspective.
in the 90s, man. We talking
late 90s.
Talking
so in the 90s, rappers were still imitating drug dealers. See, that's how I look at rap music. It was an imitation of what they were seeing in the streets and then verbally making songs about it.
So it wasn't until I was some time later, you know, I was in the box again, and it was a Friday night, and I just, you know, these guys on my tier, you know, Southport got 21 cells, and I'm just hearing them beating on a gate, rapping. And I'm just listening like
they bidding, they killing their time.
And I was like, that shit sound good.
Yeah.
And I said to myself that night, I'm gonna write me a rhyme when I get up in the morning, because it was late and niggas was beating on it, you know. So I was like, I'm gonna write me a rhyme in the morning. And when I got up that morning, I wrote me my first rhyme. And it kind of like took me all day to do it. And then I liked the fact that it took me all day, because being in the box, you ain't got much to do. Right? You gonna read, you know, write, you know, try to sleep it off, like, you know, masturbate, like whatever. You don't have shit really to do push-ups, right? So the thing is, when I started to write the rhyme, it took me out of there. It literally took my. Literally, I had never felt that before.
I got you.
I had never felt the feeling it. Like the only thing I could probably attribute it to or similar to is reading a book. Reading a book is dope. Because,
same thing.
Yeah, it's like it takes you out of there, man. Like you'll start a book, man, and before you know it, it's dark, and you like the whole day went by, because look, man. You got to think about prison, right? Prison is the lowest level. If life is a totem pole, prison is the bottom floor, right?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I've never been to prison.
Yeah.
I've been locked up, always got through my cases, whatever it may be, but did it help you as a man?
Yeah, it helped me, but I'm gonna tell you what helped me.
And I hate to say that, right?
No,
because of all of the people
we gotta be real though.
Yeah,
but
I hate it. But that's only because the discipline isn't here while you're free.
No, because I went to prison as a teenager, as a kid. Right. So when you take a kid 16, 17 years old and put him in prison, like, first of all, I ain't even have facial hairs yet. I wasn't even this tall yet. Right. So I wasn't even fully developed yet physically, let alone mentally. So the thing is, like, if prison is at the bottom of the totem pole, you getting in trouble in prison, what is the box? Wow. The box is underneath
bottom
that.
of the bottom, yes.
Bottom, so we at the last floor of life.
Yeah.
We at the bottom floor.
I get it.
So yeah, it helped me.
And I say that, and I want to be very clear. I don't want no one hitting me up talking that bullshit, because I'm not wishing prison on no one to get better. The only thing I say is that 3 hots in the cot, the way you live, the style that you're forced to live inside actually changes your life. Whether it was meant to do that or not is not what I'm saying. The reading that they do, I know so many dudes that came home so much more like when they went in. And that's what I'm talking about. I see that. So the trick is, if that is the course you take, when you come home, we gotta, you know, the feds told me when they came at me, why am I hiring all ex-cons? And I said, what are you complaining about? I'm saving lives. I'm helping them from being out on the street. Why ain't you giving me an award for this shit instead, and talking about it? And they constantly was like, well, you're going to be right next to them. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm saving these dudes. And why ain't you looking at it from that lens? And they said, because they're going to go right back to what they do. They like their fish to water. They would come to they would come to my crib every day.
It's crazy.
8 in the morning, 7 in the morning. I'd open the door of my drawers and go back to sleep. Have a bitch in the room and everything, and come back, and then they still in the living room waiting for me to talk. And my lawyer would say, don't talk to these niggas. I said, I'm not saying nothing. I'm kind of seeing where they at with it. And he trusted me, and he was like, okay, but be careful. Don't say nothing. I said, I'm not saying nothing. But this is the shit they would say to me.
Definitely.
Fish to water.
They already feel like there's no hope for us. Like, if you
But I promise you, I told them niggas, I did hire Murder Inc. We hired all ex-cons, but I taught them trades. I taught them the business. I gave it to them, and then they learned how to do it. And I could sit here and say that damn near every one of them is living good houses, legit. No fucking funny shit, you know what I'm saying? And getting money the right way, and they working. And I'm like, productive citizens for America. That's what happens. The education that comes from out of jail is deep. And it's sad because we don't need to go to jail to get that.
Right, but the thing about prison is that, not to cut you off, bro, everybody doesn't take the initiative to try to find themselves. You got to first try to find out who you are, and then you got to be willing to be better. You got to be willing to try to use some of that time to try to, develop yourself and be like, yo, I want to come out better. Now, for me, when I first went to prison, I wasn't trying to learn shit. I wasn't trying to be shit. I ain't feel like shit. Because I was too young.
Yeah.
But then the trouble, because I was having a lot of conflict, because I was, at odds with other young niggas, right? It put me in a situation to have to always sit down and have to face myself. So when them people is like, yo, here go 2 years in the box.
Right.
Here go a year in the box. Here go 6 months solitary. Like,
what you gonna do?
Sitting in there, summertime, sitting in your drawers, just staring at the bars. Like, you forced to look in the mirror. Yeah. You forced to face your fears. You forced to find out who you are as a man. And you developing, and some nights you crying, and some nights you feel strong, and some nights you feel like you could deal with it. Other nights you feel like you can't. Yeah. And you start to learn who you are. You know what I mean?
As a person.
Yeah, man.
Nah, that's real shit. Yeah. That's real shit. I don't want to dwell on that shit, but it definitely has to be touched on.
But I say this all the time.
It's part of who you are.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for me going there, then y'all would never know who I was.
And that was going to be my next question.
I had to go through that too. It's the same thing that happened to me. I had to go to prison before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I came home. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do Latin hip-hop. And they say, oh, you going to be a Cuban Vanilla Ice? They laugh. I remember Joe used to tell me, Latin hip-hop, what is that? This is 90-something. And when I came out, boom, my first album, they said, who's that little puppy on your album? Pitbull. They thought he was a little puppy. Nobody knew him. You feel me? So I understand that, but it gave you a calling.
Right.
Once you came out of there, because the key is when you're leaving, a lot of kids go back because there's no purpose.
Right.
And you could tell by his verbiage also, there's a leadership. When you have a destiny to fulfill, you're going to go through a lot at a young age. To be a true leader, I think most true leaders go through mad shit. Look at, you guys were together, but God didn't give you family and money.
Right.
You don't get it all. It's 5 holes and 8 pegs. What pick a life? Oh, them shorties want guys with money. I'm not gonna be home. I can't be there. We might be at the bar mitzvah once a year, but I can't be there every home basketball game, and that's the life. And then, you know what I'm saying? So life is what you choose. So when I see you do what you do, my brother, I watch those notes and those little gems you throw out.
Right.
And I'm saying, now I realize who you're giving it to. You're giving it to the young Maino. See, that life is crazy.
Without knowing his young self.
So someone else can catch it.
Right.
Because what happens is if he doesn't do that, I keep telling you your legacy in life, right?
Yeah.
Now he's in legacy mode. I could, and I don't even know you personally, but I kind of seen you, and when you're in legacy mode, then you're saying how you have to leave something behind.
That's right.
Even though he's building, he don't stop, he don't stop grinding, he don't stop dropping.
He don't stop working.
Right, but that's also how he understands the formula. People say, well, how'd you do it? And he's looking at other people, what do you mean how I do it? I have an idea, I take action. I make the call. I don't miss, I pick up, I show up on time. See, there's little things that you have to do in order to get where you want to go. So for that, I commend you when you point out the young artists that you now put in.
Wave.
Right, but the key is you're putting people.
What's his name? Say
Wave. Star babies, man. Yellow Zoo.
But the first thing when he walked in here, he made sure to let us know.
Facts.
He's the next one, but he's how I interpret words, and now we're getting to know him. Say it's like, I'm gonna help this kid make his dream come true because that's what you're doing.
That's right.
And this is the formula, ladies and gentlemen. I say this before.
Right.
If you and he still has dreams. He probably has movies. He probably got a bunch of shit he wants to do, right?
Shit. No
right.
doubt.
So check it out. There's the formula. It's so simple. You want your dreams to come true. Help someone else's dreams come true. That's why you've always been blessed. That's why the whole purpose of a producer is to make an artist's dream come true, and in purpose your dream comes true. And it's it's not really that hard. So he's on that wave, and even coming here, and Chris was like, yo, we're gonna get Maino. Sometimes because we're not as popular, we don't, you know what I'm saying? We think about, that's why when he stays grateful, and we stay grateful because we stay grateful at the moment. This moment that we're right now is the only time we're alive. When he called you 20 minutes ago, that's a memory. And whatever's coming, it was an illusion. We're alive right now.
That's the Bubble Out talking.
You hear. So how you feel
now
at
you
this moment
understand.
came in, and I ain't gonna lie, you came in with a dope energy. I have, you know what I'm saying? I feel energy, you feel me? You came in with a dope energy, smiling when you're telling your story. So I don't know what's coming for you, but I'm gonna tell you this, and I tell a lot of people when they have, I think the best days of your life are still ahead of you.
Oh, of course. That's a fact.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? That's important to also look at it that way. But let's continue with your
So
message.
you go through jail. I appreciate all of that too.
I always fun.
But that's what he do. He breaks shit down like that, but and talk
real.
from a spiritual standpoint. But you come out, you come home, you started rapping.
Yeah.
Like, what's the next step? Because, again, you think about today, everyone's fucking rapping.
Right, today now, you got those examples. You have dudes that did jail time, dudes that was in the street, dudes that been shot, all kinds of stuff. So for me, I ain't have no example. I was looking at Big in them. Yeah. And I just felt associated with them. You know, my peoples was out there with them. They was from the style. I was just like, man. But at the same time, I was playing with that thought of coming home to be an artist and rap. I was taking it away from myself because I was like, nah, I can't rap. I ain't gonna be there. Because it just feels way too far-fetched.
But what was the moment? Like, see, there has to be that moment. I look for that when the artist, because there had to be a moment, right? The moment that you was like, oh shit, I could do this, right? Like, fuck that, I'm gonna do it. That there had to be that switch. And again, that's what I'm looking for, like that moment. You know what I'm saying?
I think the moment, the smaller moments that led up to bigger moments, right? I think for a long time I kept it to myself, right? Because I was such an infant with it. It was so delicate.
Where were you recording?
No, I'm talking about when I was still in prison.
You even kept it right into yourself.
Right, I kept it to myself for my people, right? So for my guys that was in the street, my brother and them, my peers, you know, they was coming to see me. They was sending girls up, and girls was coming to see me, and I was always able to use the phone, right? I knew that shit just sounded way too far-fetched. What up, nigga? What you gonna do when you come home? I'm gonna rap. Niggas never told us nobody had never done that.
The next call is gonna be, we do not accept. What are you talking about? You wanna rap?
And I knew I was so delicate at that point with that if somebody would have said to me, come on, man, shut the fuck up. You ain't no rapper, nigga. What's up, nigga? I would have been like, yeah, you right. Yeah. It would have been over. That's how delicate it was. So what I did was I kept it to myself and to a point when I was almost ready to go home, and then and then I kind of like gave it to my brother Dyko, you know what I mean, and kind of and they was at a point where he was like, man, whatever you want to do, you want to do that? Fuck it. Let's go. Right. You know what I mean?
How many rhymes did you have written by then?
I had a bunch at that point, because you on the compound, right?
Did you battle anybody in the compound?
Yeah, I've been through all that. I had to build up confidence for that, because dudes never looked at me like that. I was known for something else. I was known for being, for lack of better words, troublemaker, whatever. Well, I was always in some shit,
right? In different work.
Yeah, I don't even like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I kind of like, because whoever know, right? So I was always in that type of shit, right? But so it was hard for me to come to the yard and say a rhyme, right? I would, man, my brother Shoe Shine, may he rest in peace, right? Eating from Marcy, I would go to him and be like, yo, listen to this.
So he was an A&R at the time.
So I would go. So I would, every jail, because I was always moving. Right. And every jail I would go to, I would quietly have somebody that I had real love for, that I was with every day. Yeah. And be like, yo, listen to this, right?
What you think?
What you think? Like, then we in there listening to Mobb Deep, listening to Pac, listening to Big. The Wu, we listened to everything. We Nas, everything was coming. Murder Inc., everything was coming, and we was influenced by all that. And then I was, yo, what you think? And then I built it up a little bit. Fuck that, I'm gonna go to the yard and and spit my shit, right? And you know, nigga, and then everybody had them dreams, bro. It was young niggas in there.
I love these stories from everybody.
You know why? Because when I listen is, you have to have something, hip hop. This is what hip hop gave everyone. Because guess what? Maino came in as a rapper, but I guarantee you in his rise, he's got someone who's a manager, someone who he put on as a...
Yeah,
right, so hip hop has saved so many lives. Hey, giving people a purpose and a dream.
That's right.
Other than rap.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. If you do not have a dream to chase, you will be living a nightmare, and go outside and see how many people live in nightmares.
Yo, listen, man. My brother 80, right? You know 80.
Shout out 80, man.
I come home like a week before him, right?
Yeah.
And let me tell you, right, when you talk about other people, not always, you know, you're giving other people purpose. When I told him I rap, he like, yeah, right. He was the last person,
to get to come,
the last person to really
co-sign.
Listen, this is my brother. He's gonna support me no matter what I do. Like, he would be like, you rapping, nigga, but
where's the money at?
He know me. He like, this nigga ain't no rapper though. So when I think about him, right, and then I think about now, Lola Brooke, right. So look at that.
Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it.
We talking about a man who, you know, came in with me and supported me, who then went and got the bug. Like, yo, I could do this industry shit, and then put his executive hat on.
I know.
This is what I'm saying. So now
I plugged 80
number one record in the country, right? So, like, come on, that's all from us motivating each other.
I'm gonna give you again, because you came home, you do all these things. I find you, and we start working. And we start working. I have you up in the crack house making records.
You gotta go slow.
Yeah, but
you gotta go slow.
We go slow.
You gotta go slow.
Because that was a big deal for me, bringing you news.
Yes, news.
And even Harry O.
There's a part that y'all skipping. I want to know the first time you walked in the booth and recorded.
First time I walked in the booth was the day after I came home. I came home so hungry.
Right to the
I went straight to it. I went right to it. You know,
Who did you call to have a studio ready?
It was all my niggas was there. I had already been reaching out. I was.
You were setting it up.
You know, like, so me and my guys always been popular, right? So I've always been like a somewhat popular guy from where I come from, and you know, we had a little strength. So it was like, yo, call him. We set it up. Figured I had never been in a studio in my life, so we got it done. We went to the studio. I think Cuchi Frito is the first person to ever put me in the studio. You know, and he's somebody that I know.
Sound like a Spanish guy,
right? Yeah. Eddie. I known him since before rap, since before I went to prison. So he knew me from the street.
Shout outs to Cuchi Frito.
Right. So first person to put me in the studio. Right.
Here we go. Shout out to Cuchi Frito for putting Maino in the studio.
I came in there with all my jail raps. Came in there with my jail raps, put on the instrumentals, for whatever was out at the time, and just start spitting and start laying it down. It was just funny because I had never heard my voice like that in a booth.
No, and then when you put the headphones on and the voice on the mic, it's like a different. You gotta get used to that.
Yeah, you got used to that. So I wasn't used to hearing my voice. Like, I sound like that. Like, you know.
I have a question. When you came home, it was still reels.
Nah, it wasn't no reels.
It was already Pro Tools.
It was Pro Tools.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Pro Tools.
Dat tapes though.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah. You put it all on a CD for me. I never worked on a DAT. It was I never worked. It was all CD. You know.
You might have worked there in the crack house.
It might have been, but
I'm almost sure of it.
But when I was leaving
the 2-inch running, and then we would convert it from that
was giving me
a DAT.
Jimmy, I never took a DAT out of there ever.
No, so it was on CDs, and he was pressing CDs because we was really a bootlegging organization. We bootlegged mad shit. We had all the towers, and we could print out mad CDs. So we had all of that bootlegging our shit. And that's how we did our promotions. We would do all those things to make, to get it out, to promote it. Dex right here. He'll tell you we had towers to make so we could manufacture mad CDs.
Wow.
We was definitely a 2-inch in the crack house.
I was getting CDs. So I was
super ugly.
We was going on Grand Avenue, see this jeweler Yoshi, and it was a young nigga and always around named Morilla.
Mm-hmm. The young boy.
He was always. So we was going to see Yoshi about jewelry.
Yeah.
And Start
This
talking.
is how it came about.
Start talking to Morilla, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna take you to Gotti." Gotti. Because I started getting on the DVDs a little bit. And I was making my rounds. I was getting in the mix. I was starting to get, make a little name for myself. And he was like, "Let's take you to Gotti." All right,
Shout out Morilla.
Shout out to Morilla.
Yeah,
and he took me to the crack house to meet Chris Gotti.
Yeah.
And
that was the name of the studio, guys. So
crack
know.
house, right?
Yeah, they don't know that. You say it like that. People
Right.
You want to get that hit,
right?
It was. Get that hit.
It was like it had like 3 floors. Like it was crazy.
It was the building.
Yeah, it was in the city. Mad niggas was in there. And
niggas is in
Chris Gotti was like, "Yo, all right," he put me in a room.
Pick a beat, go.
Pick a beat. Start working, and I started coming to the crack house working, right? And you had me working on, I think, with Buck and Jimmy. What was his name?
Jimmy Kendricks.
Jimmy Kendricks, right? You started having me.
Shout out Jimmy, man. Shout out.
And
Buck.
we was making some records in there.
Yeah.
And
but that's crazy. It definitely was Morilla.
Morilla
told me.
Let me was helping him sharpen
let me tell you what we did with
Morilla. I think you probably
Morilla.
forgot something though.
We used to do when Morilla was young. He was probably like 15.
Yeah, he was young. He was
you
young.
Know what I'm saying? If 16 the most. And we used to do skits that like spoofs. Like we would fuck Morilla up, have him shot or bleeding.
Right.
And we would put it out. And this shit was going crazy. And Universal said we can't keep doing it. Cause you know what I'm saying? It's like, just think about today, how far we was in front of. We was used to take Morilla, film, where like do different skits,
and
then put it out on the internet.
Now. Yeah.
That's all they doing. And we would fuck them up. We would tie them up and throw them in the closet and like just on some funny shit, crazy shit. And the shit would go crazy, and then Universal blocked us and wouldn't let us keep doing it.
Going crazy is the equivalent to going viral now.
Viral, yes. And then we couldn't keep going because Universal was like, we can't do that, and that's not good. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is entertainment. We entertaining. You know what I'm saying? We entertaining. But Morilla was in a bunch of videos. He was Captain Save-A-Hole. You know what I'm saying? We gave him all types of things. But this young nigga from Brooklyn, we took under our wing. And really, I would just tell him, don't tell everyone we are uncle. They gonna kidnap you, nigga, and want ransom, and we ain't paying. We not gonna pay the ransom.
Who you got?
Don't act like you. Yeah, that's Uncle Chris. No, nigga, I'm not paying the ransom.
He sure took me.
Nah, he ran with it.
And he took me over there, and it was late.
Yeah,
it was late at night.
Yeah, I'm a late guy.
Y'all niggas was getting there at 1:30, 2 in the morning. We was coming up there. But I'm gonna tell you something that you probably forgot. So, right in the midst of me coming there, I made the song Rumors.
Mm-hmm.
And when I made the song Rumors, that was a song that changed my life. Then I had labels calling me. Everybody started calling me. Then I started negotiating, and all that. It got crazy. The day I signed my deal,
go ahead.
The same day I signed my deal, I was coming downstairs. I got off the elevator.
This when you were in Atlantic?
Nope. Okay. Universal.
Okay.
Tone from Trap Masters, the first person to sign me.
Got you.
I got a call from you, and on the phone was your brother Irv.
Yeah.
And you was basically like, yo, like what up? Like what you gonna do? And I was like, man, I just signed, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just signed.
And here's what I was doing. So what I would do when Maino would come in, Irv is focused. Irv is like this. He's getting the money. He's chasing Ja, and that was it at the moment. It wasn't even Ashanti yet.
Right.
It's just Ja, and he's working. So for me to interrupt him, to get him off of that focus, I got to build up the catalog. We had so many records. We recorded. I had all the producers making records for him, for News, for Harry O, and we making records. And I let y'all know, Best Records is winning.
That's right.
I can't worry about this, that. Best Records is winning. So when I had enough records, and I was like, I went to Irv and said, I got one. This nigga Maino.
Yeah.
Yo, he hears the records. Let me holler at him.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. And then, you know the crazy? Right after that, it was News. We did News. I got more records on News than Irv signed News. But News was still available. Harry O, we didn't get those records to get them there. And, you know what I'm saying? Irv wasn't on it. You know, we had French Montana the same way.
Right.
Same way in the crack house. Again, he didn't see it, didn't hear it. That's the same way I had Game.
Oh yeah, I heard you
I had Game
right.
picking him up in Compton, running around. This is way before G-Unit and all of that. And I have all these records, and then Game called me just like you did. It's a crazy story. Yo, Dr. Dre just signed me. I'm with Aftermath.
Wow.
And I was like, Irv didn't feel game. He wasn't on him. He wasn't on him. He didn't see it.
Sometimes you don't see it.
Yeah,
though.
it happens. Shit happens. And I said, it's only one man's opinion. I said, when he called me, he's like, with Dr. Dre, I was like, nigga, you with the best nigga in the game.